But there are some factors things we need to consider. One, will greater size lead to greater efficiency? That size always lead to efficiency. Not necessarily. But when it leads to efficiency, it can be what? Very, very profitable. Will customers and resources remain loyal? As you grow, the personal touch may be removed. Will that result in loyalty? How are you going to finance the growth? Is it from internal? From external?
Precious investment.
Sometimes it is that you may hold on because you don't have finances. And sometimes it is that you may have to think through because it's not all financing that is used for growth. And that is part of the problem for some of our entrepreneurs. Go to the bank, take a 3 months, 6 months loan, even 1 year, and he's using it to finance a 5-year, 7-year structure. Mismatch. It's a huge thing. It can kill you. Okay. 0.5%. So the banks, even when they want to make good money, will charge you about 6, 7. Even if they charge you 8%, and you are making it in dollars, you can match the currency. But if you're making cedis, and merchant bank's problem started in 1999. In 1998, the cedi was very stable. So they took dollar facilities and were granting it to their customers in cedis. And for those of you who are of age, in 1999, the situation we have now happened. And it continued in 2000. And that was the beginning of their problems. Because the little loan that they took now became so huge. And they are giving the things to the customers already in cedis at fixed rates. I mean, cedi rates. You were not going to be able to pass on the exchange rate to the customers. And so you have to be very careful when you are mismatching currency. Thinking of only the interest rates. Now, even just think of what has happened in Bank of Ghana policy this year. Businesses are going to go under. Believe you me.
Which one?
The Bank of Ghana policy. Businesses are going to go under.
Oh, okay.
Because what they have not, the Bank of Ghana says they have crystallized that in the cities. You have made your plan for the rest of the year. The rest of that you're going to build this, you've done the first floor. And you're going to draw down. For those who don't think very fast and don't have good advisors, you're going to have big problems. So always be careful and talk to your financial advisors before you do that. But I'm saying that if you earn dollars, if you export, it's a very good way to go get money because the rates are way, way, way below. Now, do you want to take them on the added stress? Madam, are you stressed out? And now you're going to have a branch at Sprinters Road, and one at Cape Coast, one at Accra, and the babies are there. And I suppose you haven't even finished. So you need to really assess and be sure that you are at a level that you are comfortable to take on the stress. Now, taking on the stress doesn't mean that you yourself. It could be managing it. And one of it is that you get people to share it. Okay? But that means that you have to get good people. And in Ghana, one of the difficulties is getting good people. It's very difficult. but they are there.
You need to search.
You look and look and look, you'll find.
I think sometimes we're also not the kind of people that the good people want.
Well,
What did you say?
I was saying that I guess sometimes we are also not the kind of people the good people want. I feel it's a two-way street. If you want good people and you are not appealing yourself,
Okay.
nobody will come to you.
So you are not good and you want good.
Yes. Well, not good in that sense. Not like them.
In terms of relations.
Are you appealing to them
Okay.
to come to you, even though you are promising goodness? Will they come looking
Or for
at
that matter, are you willing to pay? You can grow people, you can buy people. So we say that either you grow the talent or you buy the talent. And when you're going to grow the talent, there is risk, there is patience. You're going to buy the talent, it is compensated for with higher amounts. So you have to do the balancing act. Is this Chinese or what? Japanese.
It's
And
Oriental.
what does it say?
Immortality.
Outside in, and we look at inside out. Outside in, you know your customer. You fully understand your customer perceptions. You understand the needs of all stakeholders and what can satisfy their needs. And then we have the inside out. Yin and yang. Create new markets, niches, and customers by venting new to the world of products, mastering radical innovation, venture strategies, competitive strategies, differentiation strategies. Before I move to that, I said that there is something called penetration or aggressive. We have markets development. And then we have markets penetration. And then we have products development. All these three come under the aggressive or the penetration strategy. Now when we say market development, what are we talking about? Who has used market development before? It's a strategy that you, what is market development? Okay. New markets, but the same product, you take it to geographical area, a new geographical area. So she's in Kumasi, she takes the product and brings it to Accra. She's developing a market. And after you've done all your analysis, your SWOT, your that, and you realize that, hey, I can't stay in Kumasi. Kumasi market is saturated. Then I have to do what? Develop a new market with the same products. Market penetration. Same Kumasi, same products, but you go. Okay. So you use your marketing skills, promotion, advertising, price reduction to go deep. So you are selling to, we in a service industry, when we talk about cross-selling and deep selling. Where cross-selling will be referring to more like product development. Okay, we'll take other products and give it to the same customers. That's why when you go to the bank and you say you have a personal loan, so don't you want a car loan? Oh, what about your mortgage? We are cross-selling to you. We are developing the market. We haven't taken it to a different geographical area, but we looking at you in them. So we call it cross-selling. Deep selling is what is the market penetration. You yourself, and we want to sell more to you. So buy one, get 2 free. Buy 6. I hear the those who go to have the in vitro babies. There is buy one get one. Buy one get two. If you are very lucky, you get one. Buy one get three. That means that you have 4. But what are you doing outside in or inside out? You need to look at what strategy you are adopting. I'm saying characteristics of an outside-in company. The key word is need, not products. And that is the difference between marketing and selling. Marketing is what? Identifying the needs of your customers and fulfilling it with the products, finding solutions to that. Selling is that I have this product, take it. Okay? So you need to know the need of the customer. And sometimes that has been the problem with entrepreneurs. We are dreaming. We are not finding out what the needs of people are. You have to think expansively, beyond the box. Are totally immersed in the minds of their customers, looking for ways to expand demand. And that is why, again, as entrepreneurs, you have to practice management by walking and wandering around. How do you know that today it is not moringa that we want? But we want moringa mixed with candy. You have to go around. You have to ask the people. And if you are not visiting your customers, how will you know? I talked to this man yesterday. I don't want the fresh pork. I want the grilled one. I'm sure if you have put it here today.
It's someone called Chelsea.
So you see?
It's someone called Chelsea. I hear it's called Uncle Charles.
Uncle Charles. Hey. So you see, if you don't talk to the customers, you won't know. And you'll come and sit here and pack the poultry van. Who says that we want chicken? Often needs they define have not yet been identified by customers themselves. And sometimes that is also, the customers might not have thought of something. But by probing and asking questions, you will find a niche that you develop that need. Let's look at some terminologies and then we go away. Economies of scale occurs when mass producing a good results in lower average costs. Lower average costs. As a result of what? Technical economics, your systems, managerial economics, and financial economics. So if, and when you borrow CDs, because you borrow CDs, you are not able to, your costs, and then you all of a sudden realize that, oh, we can borrow dollars. Financial economics. And you have borrowed $10,000, and so you are able to produce 100,000 bottles as against the 80,000. Created economies of scale. And then there is marketing economics. Now, this is one of the key things that as entrepreneurs you have to bear in mind. Marketing is expensive. The advert you did, 1 page, how much was it? Was it one page or half?
Half page.
For how much was the half page?
The graphic is going for
2,000
yeah.
plus.
So, yeah.
Papers, DNSC going for 2,200
For once.
excluding
Yeah.
VAT.
Yes.
Once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TV don't go there.
You can't.
Anyway, I don't have to put my phone here.
Ah. He's even here, I've forgotten.
So far, should be outside.
It's expensive, yes.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
That's what he said about the print, and he's talking about half-page
Color.
Yeah.
Full color.
Each color is about 5,000 in graphic.
Ghanaian cities.
So you are doing 10 minutes interview.
30 seconds or so it's 700.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Joy FM is how much?
6,500
For 10 minutes.
of interview.
Yes. Yeah. Announcement 30 seconds, 700.
So,
30 seconds.
No announcement.
yeah.
Yes, you get that.
You see, so that raises two issues. Number one, you need to cover that cost. So if you are producing only 10 bottles, 10 boxes, and you want to go and put your advert in the graphic, your per unit cost is high. But secondly, that is why, again, you need to see, is that the route that you should be taking? If your product is not a mass product, is that the way you should be going? Should you use a mass medium? No. So again, at a certain level, you need to talk to professionals like yourself, and they'll be able to tell you that because your product is not mass, focus. Okay, and sometimes that 5,000 CDs, you could have printed probably 20,000 brochures, flyers, handles. But if you do, and again, you know, it's interesting to do handles, but if you do handles and you go and stand in the Tetekwashi Road, and I'm driving there, my glasses are always rolled. And I will not roll it down because of a flyer.
No.
So again, you need to know where you distribute your flyers. Okay. And sometimes people have been hiring these fresh graduates and to go. The point is that you have to, he has 1,000 years to distribute. So he can give me 5. Are you there to check? So I'm just making a point. Now the marketing economies, you have to think through it very well. But once you are able to put your finger on it, you'll be amazed the returns that you can make. It will have a very long impact and you will enjoy it. Commercial economies, when you are buying in bulk, and I'm sure you do it, when people come to you and I want to buy 10 chains. In the same way when you are buying your raw materials. But please don't be like Ghana Water.
20 years.
Yes. You buy the stock 20 years. Stock it for 20 years. Yes. They bought items that were stocked in it. Oh, it doesn't even the alloy. The uniform. The stationery and the uniform. And believe you me, one of the ministries, they changed, was it the science and technology? They changed the name of the ministry. And they had to produce a new one. And they went to the stocks and they realized that the stock they had there could last 5 years. And meanwhile, because the name has changed, they had to change it. You are a private business, you have to balance it. You don't want stock out, but at the same time, you can have good economies when you buy in bulk. Because the per unit price may come down. And then we talk about research and what about economies of scope? Where average total cost of production decreases as a result of increasing number of different goods produced. When we talk about economies of scale, it is the same product per unit cost. Now this one, the cost of production is reducing because we are using the same system to produce more than one product. So you have, say, 2-3 range, and you're using the same scale. So in your case, you are producing not just children's magazine, but you are also producing magazine for women. But you're using the same process. And then you have your economies of scope. There are examples in the oil refinery and the digital and all that. But you see it very well in the retail industry. Shelf life. I've rented a room. I'm selling water. Okay. Then I realized that, oh, I can sell minerals. So I sell the water. I use the same shell to sell minerals. Tomorrow I add what? Ice cream to it. My rent per product, per square meter, is what? Reducing. I'm having scope on that. Then monopoly, that's where you have one person selling. You can only have a monopoly when you have complete control over the resource or the distribution way, or when there's a government intervention. Otherwise, in Ghana today, I don't see any business here that can have monopoly.
We have a bit of it.
You do?
Yes, we have
Okay,
a bit of it.
for the expedition.
Yes, because the Ghana Tourism Authority is supposed to be the licensing authority.
Okay, Jana.
But they have no idea how or what to license.
Okay.
So we are the ones setting the parameters.
Yeah,
for
but how long have you been in business?
2 years officially.
Yes, next year when we meet here,
Yeah.
tell me whether you are still in business. Because the same people who are licensing are the ones who tell the people, oh yeah, this is good. Yes, there's opportunity there. He's the only one. These days I've been driving around and seeing a car wash, washing days.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And another one is
You use the Agboba road.
And even there's even one of the technologies that was introduced by a technoset business.
Yeah, steam.
They're using less water.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden it's in town.
Yeah,
it's in town. So
there's like
around my
I think
area,
there's one on the
4.
Westland Road.
Yeah.
And before you get to Gimpa, there's another one there.
Around that area, there are about 4.
Yeah.
But you see, the interesting thing is that people don't do analysis. And that's why for me, this thing that we did, the 2 days, the analysis, the external, internal, and the financial thing that we done, is critical. Please don't jump into it because other people are doing it. Make sure you have done your analysis very well. Because I know people who go in there and realize that, hey, I once did accounts for a lady who was running a supermarket. And everybody was, and she went to the supermarket because her friends were. She was selling milk and Milo. And I started doing her accounts and I said, look, madam, this thing doesn't look good. And he said, oh, how? I said, okay. Then I started taking her through. You know what was happening? Anytime she got some extra money, she went to Okaishi and bought things and brought in. She was making losses, but because she was pumping in capital every time, she didn't realize it.
And getting money every day.
After we prepared the account for 3 months, she closed down the shop. And so if you are not doing your financials, you probably may think that, like Francisca, she probably thinks that she's making profits. But once you start factoring in all the salaries that she's deferring and not recording, you probably realize that it's not a business. And sometimes that's what happens. Everybody is doing it, so we join it. But then you go in there and realize that, all right, expansion through integration. I've already mentioned some. Integration, we can have 2 types of integration. We have what we call vertical integration and horizontal integration. Horizontal integration is where you buy your competitors. You want to shrink the market. PMMC is trying to do that. So they do vertical integration, and the idea is to create a monopolistic or a monopoly situation. So they kind of control the whole system. There's no law that bars them. Unlike the US that you can have, you don't have that to transfer.
Is there a typical example of a monopoly in Ghana?
ECG.
Oh, okay. Now break my home. Okay. You're right.
Maybe that's the source of all our troubles.
Right. And for the vertical, we have to be running now because I have 5 minutes to finish. In the vertical, it's where you go in this way. And we have 2 types. We have forward and we have backward. The forward integration is where you go and buy your customer. your distributor. So, Selassie, I sit at the Medina and pick Selassie's things. And for whatever reason, either my service is poor or the competition there is high, and Selassie comes and buys my business. She has integrated forward. Are you getting me?
All right.
Backward is where she goes to buy her
The
raw materials, the suppliers. So the farmers who are producing the corn for her, she decides, okay, I'm going to farming, and goes to buy them or move back to also farm. It's not always that you buy, so you also can set up your own. But whenever you move from where you are forward, it is forward integration. When you move backward, it's backward integration. And sometimes you have a situation where what's the term for it? It's like a cycle. It does both. It goes forward and it goes backward. Yeah, vertical integration, yes. So, I will not say any of them is advisable. It depends on the circumstance.
But I know backward integration will bring more profit because you can't, there's less anyway, there's more record.
Yes, but if the raw materials are available, plenty, at very competitive, why will you want to go and put yourself in that trouble? It is where raw materials are scarce, or the prices are, or the competition is, then you want to go back in there and make sure that you secure it.
Or maybe you're not getting the quality you want from them.
The quality you want from them, then you go back. So the organic, yes, and there's a lot of moringa in the system, but you're not getting the organic one. So that means that instead of just concentrating, you want to have its own organic farm.
And also in the process, if the factory is far about 1 hour distance from the farm,
yeah,
we don't take the material.
Yeah.
Because when you cut within 1 hour, we should start processing.
So that means that he probably will want to put his own factory there. Once he's there, why don't I have my farm? So there may be different reasons for it. So each circumstance will be different. Otherwise, you go and have a galamsey.
Yeah.
Yesterday I mentioned to you that there's a gentleman called Portes, Michael Porter. You can't talk about strategy without, and he has some generic strategies. Now I would like to mention briefly, I think 3 of them. Low costs, or they call it cost leadership. And then you have differentiation. Now, cost leadership is where you have taken the lead in terms of price, in terms of the costs. You are using advantage of your low cost as a strategy. Personally, I don't advise that for startups. Because the moment you start compete on costs, then competition can bury you. Yes. Unless you are in an area that you have a niche and whatever. If you begin to compete on costs, the competition can bury you. So it's not something that but you can reducing the cost of the individual value chain, reconfiguring the value chain. If it's worked well for you, why not? It's a strategy. That because you have found a solution that is so cheap in quote, you actually can price low, and therefore you can fight competition on that. So we say cost advantage can be created by reducing the cost of primary as well as those of support activities. So you can reduce that cost. And then we have some drivers of costs. 10 of them: economies of scale, learning, capacity, linkages among interrelations among business units, degree of vertical integration, timing of market entry, firm's policy of cost differentiation, geographical location, institutional factors. So there are some factors that may go into how you can reduce the costs. Differentiation is where you are, as a result of your competencies or your resources, you are able to segment your markets, and then you deal with a particular segment differently. You focus on them and deal with them differently. It means that you have seen that in this room. Yesterday, some people watched the football to the extent that when the lights were off, they went to somewhere to go and watch. Now, if I want to segment the market, I'm going to sell televisions. Okay? And you see, these people have done it, DSTV. They have teamed up with Hisense, and you are buying a TV that already has a chip in it. This man will want to watch football at all costs. So what about having a TV that you don't have to buy a decoder? The decoder is a chip in there. They have segmented the market. Now, what is trending? What do you call them? Is it soaps or operas or whatever? No. Telenovela. I just can't believe it. And who is that?
Oh, he just came from the US.
Yeah. But you see, all the ladies are trooping and they are crazy about it. Marketing opportunity. So you segment and then they sit on the radio and they are discussing something. And I heard it once, I was like, what is happening?
They go to the market.
But you know, somebody was telling me that it is as a result of that divorce rate is increasing in Ghana. I don't know what research he has done, but I'm saying that this is clearly an area that somebody has segmented and realized that people like to listen and watch that kind of thing, and therefore you can target them and push and push and push. And the guys are making adverts in between. They stop and make adverts and making their money. Right. And then we talked about diversification. Diversification, we can have two types. You can have related diversification and unrelated diversification. Diversification just means that you are moving from what you are doing to something else. Okay. I sometimes adding it on. Now, related means that as you sell jewelries, you also sell lipsticks and what to make up the full lady. So you have diversified to, what do you call it, accessories, yeah, or beads or something like that. They are related. Okay, you're doing real estate. Is it residential or commercial? Or both? You're doing both. But then you begin to do construction. It's related, isn't it? Architecture. They are all related. But then there's an unrelated. And unrelated is where it has virtually nothing to do with the product you're selling. But sometimes you're using the structures you have or your skills. Now, a typical is very common is mobile phone distributors, the units. Have you realized that most of the people who distribute commodities, rice, sugar, are also having mobile phone distribution on the side? In Kumasi is very common. I can mention about 4 or 5 names. Even in Accra, I know a couple of places. What are they doing? They are channels of distribution. They have points all over. So they use that channel to move into other businesses. It's not related. Mobile phones have nothing to do with sale of rice. But they're using their channels. And all, it's said that you have such powerful management skills that you can't manage anything. And indeed, that is what some of us were trained for. You can put me anywhere. I've been trained as a manager. I don't have to. It doesn't have to be manufacturing. It doesn't have to be banking. I'm just a manager. So I just have to manage, get there. And because of that, as an entrepreneur, you can actually move from moringa to meat because you have good management skills or team who will then use to do that. So now I'm talking about the exits. One, you sell to a strategic buyer, either a supplier, a customer, or a competitor. In which case, they are diversifying, they are integrating either backwards or forward. So you package your business and sell to them. Or you sell to a financial buyer. They are different from those ones. Those ones are already in the business and they are buying. Financial buyer is like the equity firm. I have money. I come. I'm not an IT person. I'm not interested in it. I just come and buy you. Okay? Go public. And I would like to see that 5 years from now, or maybe even less, some of you are listed on the stock exchange, either in the SME line or in the main line. Sell to your heirs or employees. Now, there is management buyouts. There is something we call leveraged buyout. Leveraged buyout is that some people want to borrow money and come and buy your company. When they do that, you say it's leveraged buyout. But when it is your management that are doing that, then we call it management buyout. In some instances, especially where you are reached, you are tired of doing the business, your children are not interested, you yourself, you don't want to, and then you probably want to sell it to your management. And you arrange for them to raise loan to buy out. So you can sell it to employees. And you can also sell it to your heirs. Pass it on. Not necessarily sell, but pass it on to them. And that's what I was talking about, the exit. That at the part of the time that you are setting the business, you have to think of how you're going to exit it. Are you going to pass it on to your children? As I told you yesterday, if you're going to pass it to your children, let the children be interested in that business right from the day one. And don't send them on holidays to London or South Africa and expect them that when they finish SHS or university, they'll be interested in it. They won't. It won't happen. It's very rare. There are some children who see their fathers as and their mothers as all in all. I mean, they worship them. In which case, they will want to follow wherever they go. My 7-year-old boy thinks that the best thing that ever happened to him was the father worked in the bank. When he was 4 years, he told a friend of mine that, you want money? Go to my father's office. There's a ward there. You get money from it. Because anytime you are in town, you see you have money, I go to the ATM. And he thinks that you just go there and pick money. Now, for such a, if you grow up with it, then you don't have to do anything. But I'm saying that don't leave it to chance. If you want your children to take over, please work on it. Start from day one and start looking at what you know. You can liquidate your assets. Now there's a difference between selling the company as a going concern, and that may come under merger or acquisition, and then liquidating it, the asset. Where you take the machine that you use to make a jewelry, what is it called? Milling machine. Then you sell the milling machine. And then you sell this one apart. And then you sell this one apart. You are liquidating the assets. Is that what you want to do? Start thinking about it from day one. Because sometimes it may be that you may make more money by selling it in pieces than selling it as a business concern. All right. So there is enforced liquidation, manage for life. Manage for life that you are going to sit there until you fall down. And if you haven't done the succession plan, what happens?
It dies with you.
And if you are like some people that I know that have married more than 2 and have children from different fathers, a lot of confusion. Please, for the young guys here, stick to your wife. 1. A lot of the problems we're facing in this country is because of that. Children from different fathers. it creates a lot of problem. Incidentally, I've realized that from different mothers doesn't create as much problem as from different fathers. Yeah. It's a big... Right, okay. I think I'll end here. And we talked a bit about valuation. And I think that all I will say about it, the questions you were asking, is that this forum is not a forum that we can go into very detail about how to do the valuation. Fortunately, it took you through how the balance sheet is done. And so one of the first things you have to do, even just after registering the company, one of the first things you have to do is to do statement of affairs. Okay. The statement of affairs is a kind of a balance sheet. Statement of financial position. On this day that I registered the company, this is what I had. Okay? And it's just a guide for you. Anytime that you get something on, it's added. But please note, the value of a company is not shown by the financial statements. The financial statement is prepared on historical basis, on historical costs. The value of the company is current costs. Okay, so your car that you put in there, started a business with, at the time you were putting in, it was what? 5,000. Today that car may be worth 15,000 or nothing. The building that you started with, at the time it was 100,000 cedis. Today maybe 500,000. If you use the book value to value it, you value it at 100,000 less all the depreciation today. And so that's all I will say about valuation. But if you need to look at valuation and all that, please talk to your advisors. Some few advice. Don't manage till you drop. Okay? Don't manage till you drop. Decide what you want to do after you exit. For some people, their business is their life and their life is their business. I used to be like that. My advice to you that it is not healthy. Think of, and especially as you grow the business, think of some leisure things you can do, especially when you are able to get competent people to manage and you have reached the age that I am. You won't understand it because you are too young. When you get there, you understand. Yeah. And retire early and then do what I'm doing. No stress. Okay? Stay flexible. Stay flexible because anytime that you have to go, you can go back. Okay. Thank you very much.
We are at that point where we have to be completing our business plans, and by now you should have had a draft of the following sections: your company's description, your product or service development, your industry analysis, the market analysis, the competition management on organization. If we just ask you in the next 1 hour to draft your business plan, you should, with the information and the exercises that we've done so far, be having these as drafts at this time. And then what we know is left to do when you go is you should have begun drafting the remaining sections, which is your marketing strategy, your financial plan, your operations plan, your expansion and exit plan, because these are things that we did today, so you haven't really had a thought. But in the last 3 days, we've done a few things that really has taken you to that point. You are also using the feasibility analysis to help you refine your business models on the empirical data that you would have been gathering. Now, so what it means is that your business model is moving into your feasibility study for those of us who are yet to launch our businesses, and those of us who are yet to launch that expansion plan we have been thinking of, that diversification plan we have been thinking of. And then the question is, once you've done all those things, is the business viable? If your business is viable, you move forward. If your business is not viable, the answer is no. What it means is that refine the business model. If the answer is still no and you cannot refine your business model, abandon the business model. So this is to guide you take those decisions. Your initial questions. Is your proposed business legal? Will it comply with all the relevant regulations? Or are you complying with the relevant regulations? Is your product technically possible to produce? I know for that question I don't have to answer, because all of you, that was one of the considerations that brought you in. Are the resources that you require for your business available? Is there any viable distribution mechanism? So these are the questions that you need to take home and then you answer. All you need to do is to demonstrate that you can conduct your business profitably. So you need to demonstrate do your financial projections. Detailed financial projections of your company must be developed in order to finish your to know that the business is feasible. Your ability to attract financing depends on your ability to convince investors. And take us, engine team, as investors. And in fact, we are actually investors in your business. All the efforts we are spending here is that equity we want to put in your business, plus the award cash. So whatever business plan you are going to do, you have to convince us and take us as investors. But our investment is that we are assuming that we put all of us at zero and give you certain tools to come and convince us that yes, your business is doable and we can invest in your business. So you begin to gather that right information, and then you do your projections. Be conservative in your projections. Don't come and tell me that I am going to make 5 million. If last year you made 200,000 cedis as your revenue, and you bring your projections this year and tell me you are going to make 1 million, I tell you, you are joking. And that is not a realistic projection, especially that economic activity this year is a bit slowed down. You know, even in the area of food, it's still down. People are not doing. Maybe bread might be going up. Yeah. So, your financial models that you are going to develop, you need to be very serious with it. It is wise to be conservative in your estimates. Don't overestimate your distance. And I think one of the businesses we didn't select, the person comes and says, look, I have a business model. And when I started reading his questions, I said, yes, if I were, the business is a very good business. It's in an area where there is demand for a particular aspect of his product. Then he himself then comes back, oh, was I not taken because my estimates, my revenue estimations were aggressive? You know, because all of a sudden he's thought through and realized that maybe that is what is making this. Don't try to think that you are impressing the person. But you know, and as I told you yesterday or the day before yesterday, that quick and dirty calculation, the guy will just calculate and say, no, it doesn't make sense. It's very aggressive. So, are your projections showing positive net incomes? So those are the things you need to be looking at and doing your adjustments. You simply do not want to run out of money. So look at your cash flow very well. And you may want to run your cash flow analysis month by month for at least the first year to ensure that you have enough money. They've told you. So anytime you're doing your projection, your first year's projection, try and break them down into month by month, and then you know whether you're making money for the first year. Subsequently, you can do that. So that is that. You need to look at your break-even as startups, as businesses in expansion. One of the areas that we'll take very seriously, and it is going to be one of the areas you would use to convince the panel of judges, is your executive summary. Your executive summary, by what we are doing, maximum, it should not be more than 2 pages. Maximum, it should not be more than 2 pages. I wish you could do 1-page executive summary, and that has been the style that that's a personal note. I write my executive summary for a business plan like this, 1 page, and very, you take it, and it makes you can take that decision. So look at that, and then you do your executive summary. Some of these